Have you ever paused to wonder about one of the Bible's most intriguing mysteries? Cain, the first son of Adam and Eve, is a figure central to the story of humanity's beginnings. But a question lingers. If Adam and Eve were the first parents of humanity, where did Cain's wife come from? How could Cain start a family and build a city if only his immediate family existed? These questions have puzzled theologians and curious minds for centuries. Today, we delve into this fascinating enigma. This isn't just a story of ancient times. It's a tale with profound lessons about humanity, relationships, and faith that are still relevant in today's world. Through exploring the scriptures, considering historical perspectives, and analyzing different interpretations, we will seek to uncover not just the mystery of Cain's wife, but also the broader meaning behind these ancient accounts. Imagine for a moment Cain, a man burdened with the guilt of his brother's death, exiled and wandering in a strange land, yet determined to build a new life. What drove him? Who stood by his side? And how does this reflect the human spirit's resilience and our capacity for redemption? Stay with us as we journey through this story of beginnings, delving into the known and the unknown, while uncovering valuable lessons hidden within. The answers might surprise you, challenge your beliefs, or inspire a deeper connection to the biblical narrative. Let's embark on this exploration together. Cain's story begins at the dawn of humanity, where Adam and Eve, the first man and woman created by God, lived in the Garden of Eden. After their disobedience led to their expulsion from paradise, they started a family, ushering in the next chapter of human history. Among their children were two sons, Cain, a farmer who worked the land, and Abel, a shepherd who tended his flocks. The Bible recounts a pivotal moment in their lives when both brothers brought offerings to God. Cain offered fruits from his harvest, while Abel presented the best portions of his flock. God looked favorably upon Abel's offering, but rejected Cain's. Though the scripture doesn't specify why, many interpretations suggest it was Cain's attitude or the quality of his offering that caused the disparity. This perceived slight deeply wounded Cain, stirring envy and anger toward his brother. Consumed by these emotions, Cain invited Abel to the field, where he committed the first murder in recorded history. When God confronted Cain, asking about Abel's whereabouts, Cain famously replied, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Despite this attempt to deflect responsibility, God declared that Abel's blood cried out from the ground, revealing Cain's guilt. As punishment, God cursed Cain, declaring that the ground would no longer yield its strength to him, forcing him to live as a wanderer. Cain expressed fear that others might seek revenge for Abel's death. In response, God placed a protective mark on Cain to prevent anyone from killing him, though the nature of this mark remains unspecified. Cain then left God's presence and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. It was there that Cain knew his wife, and they had a son, Enoch. Cain named a city after Enoch, marking one of the first instances of human civilization in the Bible. This narrative raises intriguing questions about humanity's early days, particularly regarding Cain's wife and the origins of others mentioned indirectly in the text. Despite the brevity of the account, Cain's story serves as a profound exploration of sin, consequences, and God's justice mingled with mercy. It also sets the stage for the broader narrative of humanity's growth, struggles, and search for redemption. The story of Cain is not just a tale of early humanity, but also a puzzle that invites deep reflection and diverse interpretations. One of the most debated aspects of this narrative is the question of Cain's wife. The Bible states that Cain married and fathered children, but it does not specify where his wife came from, leading to centuries of speculation. This mystery, while intriguing, also provides an opportunity to explore broader themes of human beginnings, divine justice, and the complexities of interpreting ancient texts. One prevalent theory is that Cain married one of his sisters or a close relative. This interpretation aligns with the biblical account that Adam and Eve had many sons and daughters, Genesis 5 verse 4. In a time when humanity was just beginning, such unions would have been necessary for the population to grow. While this may seem strange or even troubling by modern ethical standards, it is important to consider the cultural and historical context. In the earliest days of humanity, societal norms were not yet established, and such practices were seen as part of the divine plan for propagation. Supporters of this view argue that Cain's wife could have been born long after the events involving Abel. Considering the extended lifespans of early biblical figures, there would have been ample time for Adam and Eve's family to grow significantly before Cain's exile to the land of Nod. This would also explain Cain's fear of retribution, as a larger population would have included individuals who might seek vengeance for Abel's death. Another perspective suggests that God may have created other human beings independently of Adam and Eve. Proponents of this theory argue that the existence of a broader population would resolve questions about Cain's fear of others and the rapid establishment of communities. While this idea is not explicitly supported by the Bible, some interpret certain verses, such as Genesis 1 verse 28, "Be fruitful and multiply," as a hint that humanity may have had multiple starting points. This interpretation seeks to reconcile the biblical narrative with archaeological and anthropological evidence of early human civilizations that existed concurrently with the biblical timeline. However, critics of the independent creation theory point out that it diverges from the central message of the Bible, which emphasizes Adam and Eve as the progenitors of all humanity. The Apostle Paul, in Acts 17 verse 26, reinforces this belief, stating, "From one man he made all the nations." This verse underscores the unity of the human race and God's overarching plan for humanity to stem from a single origin. Adding to the complexity is the role of extra-biblical texts, such as the Book of Jubilees. This apocryphal work, not included in the canonical Bible, names Cain's wife as Oan, a daughter of Adam and Eve. It also describes her role in Cain's lineage and their life in the city of Enoch. While the Book of Jubilees offers detailed insights, its apocryphal status raises questions about its reliability. For some, these additional details enrich the biblical story, while for others, they introduce unnecessary complications and speculative elements. Reflecting on the story of Cain and his wife also invites us to consider its broader implications. Cain's exile and subsequent life in the land of Nod symbolize humanity's resilience and the possibility of redemption, even in the face of great sin. The establishment of a city named after his son, Enoch, suggests that Cain's lineage was not defined solely by his crime, but also by his contributions to early human civilization. This duality serves as a reminder that every individual, despite their flaws, has the potential to shape the future in meaningful ways. Modern readers often struggle with the ethical dilemmas presented in Cain's story. The idea of sibling marriage, for example, clashes with contemporary moral and genetic concerns. However, these practices must be understood within their historical and theological context. At the time, humanity was in its infancy, and the survival of the species required practices that later laws and societal norms would prohibit. Additionally, Cain's story raises questions about divine justice. God's punishment of Cain is severe, yet it also includes an element of protection through the mark placed on him. This tension between justice and mercy highlights the complexity of God's relationship with humanity. It challenges readers to consider how justice should be tempered with compassion and how consequences serve as both a deterrent and an opportunity for growth. In the context of modern life, the story of Cain and his wife holds enduring relevance. It reminds us of the importance of accountability, the consequences of unchecked emotions, and the need for redemption. It also prompts us to reflect on how we view and treat those who have erred. Do we, like God, offer them protection and a chance to rebuild, or do we seek retribution without regard for their potential to contribute positively? Furthermore, the mystery surrounding Cain's wife underscores the limitations of human understanding. Not all details are provided in the biblical narrative, leaving gaps that spark curiosity and debate. This serves as a metaphor for the broader human experience. We rarely have all the answers, and faith often requires trusting in the unseen and the unknown. In the end, the story of Cain and his wife is not just about solving a mystery, but about engaging with the deeper lessons it offers. It challenges us to think critically, embrace the complexity of human history, and find meaning in the interplay of justice, mercy, and redemption. It is a story that, though ancient, continues to speak to the struggles and aspirations of humanity today. Another layer of intrigue in Cain's story lies in the supplementary theories and interpretations that attempt to fill the gaps left in the biblical narrative. These hypotheses often stem from the desire to reconcile the scriptural account with broader historical and anthropological evidence, or to address unanswered questions such as the origin of Cain's wife and the population of the early earth. One prominent theory is the idea that God created other humans besides Adam and Eve. This perspective suggests that Cain's wife and the people he feared after Abel's murder could have been part of a parallel creation, separate from Adam and Eve's lineage. Proponents of this theory often reference Genesis 1 verse 27, where God says, "Let us make mankind in our image," and argue that this could imply multiple creations occurring simultaneously. However, this interpretation is not widely supported within traditional Judeo-Christian teachings, as it conflicts with the core belief that Adam and Eve were the sole progenitors of humanity. Still, the hypothesis persists as an attempt to explain how a larger population seemed to exist during Cain's lifetime. A related suggestion is that the Bible's narrative is symbolic, rather than strictly historical, and that the mention of other humans serves a metaphorical purpose. Under this interpretation, Cain's wife could represent humanity's collective need for companionship and community, rather than a specific individual. This view shifts the focus away from literal lineage and instead emphasizes the spiritual and relational lessons within the text. Another fascinating angle comes from the Book of Jubilees, an apocryphal text that expands on the biblical account. According to Jubilees, Cain's wife was named Olwan, a daughter of Adam and Eve, while Seth married Asherah, another daughter of the first couple. The book provides additional context about these relationships and the growth of human communities. While the Book of Jubilees is not considered canonical scripture, it offers insights into early Jewish traditions and interpretations of the Genesis story. For some, it serves as a valuable complement to the Bible, while for others, its apocryphal nature renders it less authoritative. Beyond these scriptural and apocryphal explanations, some scholars propose that the longevity of early biblical figures, often living hundreds of years, allowed for a significant expansion of Adam and Eve's descendants before the events of Cain's exile. This extended timeline would provide ample opportunity for the population to grow and for Cain to find a wife from among his distant relatives. This interpretation aligns closely with Genesis 5 verse 4, which mentions that Adam and Eve had other sons and daughters over their long lives. Theories also delve into the symbolic meaning of Cain's city, Enoch. Building a city so early in human history suggests a broader population and the beginnings of social structure and innovation. While the Bible credits Cain with founding the city, it leaves open questions about who helped him construct it and who inhabited it. Some interpret the city as a metaphor for humanity's resilience and ability to create order, even in the aftermath of sin and exile. Ultimately, these supplementary theories highlight the richness of biblical narratives and the myriad ways they can be interpreted. Whether viewed through a historical, theological, or symbolic lens, the story of Cain invites deeper exploration into the origins of humanity and the complexities of early human life. While the exact details may remain a mystery, the search for understanding continues to inspire faith, curiosity, and reflection. The story of Cain and his mysterious wife is far more than a historical puzzle. It serves as a profound reflection on the complexities of human nature, divine justice, and the origins of civilization. While the Bible provides limited details, the narrative leaves space for interpretation, inviting readers to engage with its deeper themes. At its core, Cain's journey is a testament to humanity's resilience and the capacity for redemption. Despite his grievous sin, God's response, both in punishment and protection, demonstrates a balance of justice and mercy. The mark placed on Cain to safeguard his life highlights the profound truth that, even in the face of failure, there is an opportunity for restoration and purpose. This duality reminds us that no individual is beyond redemption, and even those who stray can contribute meaningfully to the larger story of humanity. The mystery of Cain's wife offers a symbolic lesson about community and connection. Whether she was a sister, niece, or from another lineage, her presence underscores the fundamental human need for companionship and the importance of building relationships, even in the most challenging circumstances. The establishment of the city of Enoch, attributed to Cain, further illustrates humanity's innate drive to create, innovate, and establish order, even amidst turmoil. This story also encourages humility in the face of the unknown. The gaps in the biblical narrative remind us that we do not have all the answers, and that faith often requires trusting in what we cannot fully comprehend. As Isaiah 55 verses 8 to 9 reminds us, God's thoughts and ways are higher than ours. This perspective calls us to focus not on every detail, but on the overarching messages of love, justice, and redemption. In the end, Cain's story invites us to reflect on our own lives. How do we respond to failure? Do we allow our mistakes to define us, or do we seek opportunities to grow and rebuild? Are we able to offer mercy to others as God did, even when justice demands consequences? These timeless questions make the narrative of Cain and his wife not just a story of the past, but a source of wisdom for navigating the challenges of today. As we ponder these lessons, we are reminded that the Bible is more than a record of events. It is a guide for understanding our relationship with God and with one another. In Cain's story, we see both the fragility and the resilience of humanity, a reflection of our struggles and our potential to rise above them. It is a narrative that continues to resonate, inviting us to seek deeper meaning and connection in our lives.